Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil Pigment, and today I wanted to do a video about creating and painting on rocks. Now this has become increasingly popular in the last few years, and I want to show some of the products you can use and can do with the rock and give you some tips and tricks that may help you get the result that you're after. So what I have laying down on this page is just a piece of hot press studio watercolor paper, because I want to show you some techniques. Now I have some very fine tip brushes. If you are looking for very fine tip brushes that do very small details, one tip and trick would be to use the brushes that are used for painting on fingernails. So paintbrushes that nail technicians do and use, because they have to go super tiny when creating on a fingernail. So some of their brushes are some of the tiniest I've ever seen. Now, think 3-0, 3/0, 2/0. These are really tiny bristled brushes. Now, if you're doing a no-buy art supply like I am, and maybe you don't have super fine tip brushes, and that's not something available to you, there are other things you can do. So I have with me a toothpick, and I'm going to try and make sure I get everything on screen here. Here is some Liquitex acrylic paint. Acrylic paint is one of the better paints for creating with rocks. And you can do little tiny designs. Maybe you're doing stars in a solar system on a rock, or you want to draw and write and you just need something very fine tip. A toothpick can work. Now, if you don't have a toothpick, another thing you can use would be to take a paper clip, and I have pulled this one apart. This one is just coated. It has a plastic coating. But paper clips also work for making designs and drawing small. And this is my ruler right here. If you'd like to see inches, here are inches on this side. This is how small you can get with the tip of a paper clip. Now, I want to show you a couple other products. The Uniball Posca. This is the smaller one. This is the 0.7 pin type. This one was purchased from Blick. This is the smallest tip Posca you can get. The other product I have, which isn't my favorite, is the oil-based Sharpie. And as you can see, this one has a larger tip. But both the Posca and the Sharpie work great on rocks. Now, I want to show you something I did on this rock. I took this rock and I painted a couple layers, and I just used some washi tape to create a straight line. This is one layer of acrylic white paint, and this is 2 layers of acrylic white paint. So if you want a stronger base when you are creating something, let's say you're using light colors, you may want to put some white down first. Especially if the color of your rock is a darker value in the value scale range. Could be very helpful. Let's add some blue. This is the Ultramarine by Liquitex. And you can see it shows up just fine. It's a much darker shade than the color of the rock. Again, I am going as small as I can. My camera is as zoomed in as I can get it. I hope this is viewable for you. But as you can see, putting down a layer of white is actually very helpful to make the colors pop and stand out. And that's probably one of the better things that I would recommend to do when creating on rocks. Now, if you want to seal your rock, there are sealants you can put on. If you are doing a no-buy, let's say you want to sign the back. Sometimes I sign the back of creations of mine. clear nail polish can seal that. So that's something that also works for creating on rocks. Rocks are super popular for, in my community, lots of people do this for children, and they draw and they paint on them, and then they leave them all over the hiking trails and just around. They're just everywhere in my community. My kids are constantly seeing them. They're only allowed to take home one a week because we have so many, but it's very, very popular for geocaching, sometimes for library activities. There's creating and painting on rocks, quotations, large rocks. If you want to put a quote and dedicate something to someone, that's also a possibility. It's just a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun to find. I believe there are some group pages on Facebook, and I will look for some on the web where you can sign up and hide rocks in your area for other people to find, just as something fun and positive and creative in the community that everybody might enjoy. That I think is a really sweet gesture. So if you're interested in rocks, I will link. I by no means have a large Pinterest folder dedicated, there's some red, dedicated to rock art. But if you go on Pinterest, you will find, and you just type in like rock art or rock paintings, rock drawings, you will find some incredibly beautiful creations on there from some amazing artists that are wonderful inspiration. There's some hyper-realism of animals, which is really cool. Again, you want to find tiny brushes. You may have to make some. If you have pets, pets naturally lose whiskers over time. Like they fall out like hair once in a while. You'll find a stray whisker from a pet. A couple of those could be put together and used as a brush if you are doing hyper-realism. This is cadmium red for painting on a rock. If you're doing designs, if you're doing something that's more like native inspiration or something to your culture, creating on rock. I have seen for gardening, I have seen folks paint rocks red and do the black polka dots for ladybugs, and or paint them as strawberries and put them in their berry patches, and when the birds come down, they hit it and realize it's a rock, and then they stop going after the berries and berry patches apparently. So if you're having trouble with birds in your strawberries, maybe painting some strawberry rocks might help. Bird netting might also help as well, unless you're against that, and that's fine. But there are some other things you can do with rocks. You can put them in your own garden for different pest control options. So I hope this video was helpful to you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.